Do you have to give up 2 first-round picks? Is this negotiable? If, let's say, the Colts go, we want Lamar Jackson. Can we give you a first and a third, and we're going to pay him whatever we're going to pay him?
I mean, you could, if you want to talk to the Ravens, you could go to the Ravens and ask for that. But if you do that before the draft, aren't the Ravens going to ask for the 4th pick?
Sure.
Like, to me, like the smart move, and I think the Colts are one of the teams in the top 10 that could consider this. And I think there are other teams that maybe should consider this that are in the top 10.
Like who?
There's no like if you're. I mean, I know Atlanta's not going to do it, but should they consider it? They should look at it. You know, like,
absolutely.
And here's the thing, right? Like, if you're one of these teams, if you're Indianapolis, and you're saying to yourself, we want to go through the full process with the quarterbacks. And I can tell you for a fact, like when Chicago called them about, dealing the first pick and they had some discussion on it, the Colts weren't there on the quarterbacks yet. They weren't there with one of the quarterbacks yet. So, like, I think it stands to reason that they're not going to be comfortable with whoever falls to them at 4. So if you're the Colts and you don't want to give up the 4th pick for Lamar, what do? What you can do is you could wait until after the draft. You could use the 4th pick on, I don't know, Will Anderson, a great defensive player, and then get past the draft. And but by the way, when you get past the draft, you're not talking about the 4th pick anymore. You're talking about a 2024 first-round pick and a 2025 first-round pick. And if you still think Lamar's a great player like he has been the first 5 years of his career, and you can find a way to keep him healthy, like, we could be talking about the 25th pick in the draft next year. You know what I mean? Like, so it's no longer the 4th pick. So I think that there are teams in the top 10 that are not comfortable with this group of quarterbacks, with the 4 quarterbacks who are, expected to go in the first round. And they really might not be comfortable with the quarterbacks that fall to them, wherever they're picking inside the top 10. So this could be an alternative where you can use your top 10 pick on another player if you're willing to wait, and then sign Lamar Jackson to an offer sheet after the draft where you wouldn't be spending this year's pick. You'd be spending picks over the next 2 years, which, you'd figure if Lamar Jackson is on your team, it'd be a much lower pick than the one you have this year.
What about the Patriots?
It's a lot of fun, isn't it?
But they're irrelevant. I mean, they don't have anything there. There's no juice whatsoever. And Belichick's talking about what happened, the last 25 years. Hey, moving forward. This guy never talks about what's in the rearview mirror. But if you want to keep
here's
up,
what I know.
Okay.
Well, no, here's what I know, Dan. Like, Bill has had opportunity after opportunity to, like, get Mac Jones's back over the last 6 months, going all the way back to the Bailey Zappi thing in October and the way that thing blew up. He hasn't done it. Like, it's constantly been, he hasn't declared him a starter. When he's asked about there being a competition between Jones and Zappi, he says, well, like, all things are sort of open. Every position is open. He's had opportunity after opportunity to back Mac Jones, and he hasn't done it. And then the owner comes out and publicly speaks about Lamar Jackson yesterday and the whole Meek Mill thing and everything else. Like, what I know about Bill is he loves players like this, that, like, the reason he went and got Randy Moss is because you couldn't find another one of them. And if you think about how Bill came up, that's what Lawrence Taylor was. Like, and if you've ever heard Bill, and Dan, I'm sure you've heard Bill talk about Lawrence Taylor, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like he's talking about Michael Jordan when he talks about who he was as a player and everything else. Lamar's sort of that way. Now, I'm not saying Lamar's Lawrence Taylor and, like, is going to go down with that sort of legacy, but when you're talking about just how unique he is and how different he is, and how, if you're Bill, you create so much stress on the opponent with this one player. Like, I think that all appeals to him. And the idea of what he could do creatively, maybe in his last act as an NFL head coach, all of it lines up. Now, do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. But it's a fun idea. And it's one that, like you look at it, like yesterday, again, this, just like Bill had the opportunity and has had the opportunity to declare Mac Jones his starter over the last 6 months and didn't do it, he also had the chance, and Robert Kraft did too, to shoot the Lamar Jackson thing out of the sky yesterday, and neither of them did that either.